All right, fourth graders, we're gonna start weaving today, and so you'll need to get a loom and then weave an inch of color onto your loom today. All of your looms are already in this bin, so you will need to find the one that has your name, and then you're going to be getting yarn out of this box. So when you have your final finished weaving, you'll use 4 or 5 colors, so you kind of want to look and think about what colors do you think look good together. And when you've got your idea of what you're going to use, decide which color will be first. This is a shuttle, and you're going to put about an inch onto the shuttle, and then you will just pull the string out of the box and wrap it around. You'll do this about 10 to 12 times. Basically, if it feels like it's too full for any more to go on, it's time to stop. There we go. When I cut from this box, I never want to cut right at the box because it'll fall back in. This whole thing works because all of the yarns are in here and they're feeding through the top of the box. So I want to make sure I leave at least 2 inches sticking out. So I'm going to cut this. I have plenty of extra yarn, and then I'm going to start weaving. So when we start weaving, you'll want to have your shuttle, and we're going to leave a tail on it, and then you're just going to start weaving and go over, under, and the first couple times through it'll feel a little awkward, and then it gets easier. I like to put this on my lap or the table because then I can feed it through with both hands, and then I'm going to pull. I'm going to leave a little tail right here. I don't want it hanging off the side, and then I'll push it up here because we don't want to have a whole bunch of loose ends over here. So now I look at my last string. This blue string is under the white. So now I'm going to go over on this one. So it's the same thing, over, under. And when I go over, I kind of use my thumb to help push that string down. Like I said, if you're sitting, it's a little easier. Then when I pull this, I don't want to pull too tight. So I'm going to pull until there's a little bubble, and then I will push that up. So this first time through, you're going to weave your whole shuttle through. Okay, so now I look. The blue is under. I'm going to get a little string off my shuttle, so I will be going over. Same thing, over, under. And then it's very important not to pull too tight. If you notice that your string falls out, you probably did the same pattern. I'll do a couple more the right way, and then I'll show you what happens if you do it the wrong way. So there's under, so now I'm going to go over. Okay, so let's say I didn't check which pattern I was supposed to do, and I did the same one. So look at how that looks right now. It kind of looks like little bricks. Okay, what happens if I do the same pattern? So it was under, the blue was under the white, and I'm going to start that same thing. Push the shuttle through. And let's see. Uh-oh, that whole string just came out. And then, this is bad, it even linked around. It didn't come out all the way. So to take care of a knot, I have to think, okay, it was under, so then I do the same thing to take it out. So it was under, I went under, now it's under, I'm going to go under. So I'll just have to try it again. Everybody does that at least once, but that's why it's happening if you find yourself taking your weaving apart instead of adding to it. So hopefully everybody gets at least an inch of color onto their loom today. If you add a second color, think about adding a skinny stripe instead of another thick stripe, because we want to start thinking about design and pattern. I'll leave some pictures up in the room and you can see what other people have done. Good luck. When you're designing your idea for your weaving, you want to think about 5 colors or less. So if you look at these, all of them have repeating colors. They've chosen a color scheme that uses 5 colors or less. And then as they go through each design idea, they just keep repeating colors. So everything looks like it belongs together. They call that unity in a work of art. I'm going to talk about adding yarn onto your weaving. And as you can see, I'm just about done weaving out this shuttle of yarn. This was a bigger shuttle, and so it actually ended up being a lot more than just an inch. So as I get down to the end here, I will use the shuttle as long as I can, and then I will have to finger weave once the shuttle is done. So I've got it on my desk now, so you can see how I like to go quick by just pushing the yarn over. So here's my little tail, and so what I can do now is just finger weave. So I'm kind of just going over, under, and I kind of meet the string in the middle. So I'm just reaching under and grabbing. Okay, great. Now I've got this tail, and this is perfect because it's in the middle of my weaving, and I'm gonna add a piece of orange string to it. So if you want to use a short piece, you might want to use a needle instead of a shuttle because it's a little easier to handle. And so I put the yarn through, and then if I make a loop like this, and then I just tuck the end through, and you might want to do it 2 times. I make a loop, and then I just tuck the end through. It will stay on while I'm weaving. Now I'm going to tie, and you can decide. You can either tie these 2 together, or you can just push that to the back and just start weaving where you left off. It is kind of nice to tie these because then it will stay nice and tight for you. So if I just kind of tie it like a shoe, I can do this, and that should work. And then when I start weaving that, I'm going to just push it to the back. So it ended under this string, and it was an under. So then I will be going over, and I can look up there, make sure that the pattern on the string up above is opposite what you're doing. So here, there's that knot, and then I'm just going to make sure that these ends go to the back. So I'll just push them back there, and so it's under. So I'm going to go over, and then I'll use my needle. And now I'm starting to think about design. So the first piece of yarn I put in was just to kind of get a nice strong start, all with one color. And now I can decide how long of a piece is this going to be. So if it's going to be a skinny stripe or if it's going to be a thick stripe. So as I look at this, it could even just be across and back and do one skinny orange stripe and then go back to blue. That might be cool, or do a different color. I'm going to go ahead and do one more. And then if I decide that I want to end it, maybe I'll go over and bring it back so it ends at least in the middle, so then I could tie it onto something. So here is a case where I actually don't want to keep going with this piece of yarn. If you use a scissors, be very careful. Never cut like this right in by those white strings, because you might cut them off and it's really hard to fix it. So I'm just going to push this to the back, and I can add my next string. I could go back to blue or maybe white or yellow. The other thing I want to talk about is, let's say class is over and you are weaving, you're in the middle of weaving with a shuttle. All that you do is take whatever string is left on it, and it would still be in this weaving, wrap it up the best you can until it's tight, and then you'll just kind of loosely put it in there and park it. And that's a great way to end it. Then when you go to put it into the bin, you've already got it all set to go, and your yarn is ready for you next time.